The number of men that any given female has had sex with is something that's been kicked around for decades. Um, I mean, we've all heard of the rule of three, which states that whatever she tells you, you multiply that number by three. Then there's the hardcore red pill factor, where some of us out there are, some of us out there multiply a woman's number by like 20, 25, something ridiculous like that. There's all kinds of formulas out there because, of course, this is one of the most important things to men when selecting a woman. Well, today, guys, I'm going to give you guys the definitive formula that men need to use to get some idea as to how many men a woman has slept with. Keep in mind, obviously, there's margin for error. The truth is we will never know how many men that any given woman has slept with, and a lot of times they don't even know. But just because this is an inexact science doesn't mean that there's no credence to this formula. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here is the official Donovan Sharp notch count formula. And it's actually quite simple here. It's actually quite simple. You look at it on your screen and you might think, oh my God, it's all this math. No, 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 no. Like anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it. You do need a calculator, but listen, we all have a phone, so we all have access to a calculator. So let me explain this to you. It's really simple. You take a woman's age, you subtract her physical attractiveness level. Obviously, that's on a scale of 1 to 10. A woman's beauty is highly subjective. We all know that. But we can all recognize a hot girl when we see one. We can say, well, she doesn't qualify as a 10. She doesn't qualify as a 9. Listen, the male sex drive is pretty much the same. We know the difference between ugly chicks. We know the difference between hot chicks and ugly chicks and everywhere in between. Yes, the numbers do get muddled. One man's 6 could be another man's 7, but by and large, our cocks all think the same way. So I'm not going to get into a debate in terms of a woman's physical attractiveness level. Anyway, you take a woman's age, you subtract her physical attractiveness level. We're going to call that the par. You're going to divide that number by 1/2 of her physical attractiveness level, and then multiply it by the number of guys she says she slept with, and that will give you a number that is much closer than the number she gives you. Let's go over this again. Her age minus her par divided by half her par multiplied by the number she gives you. Again, this may seem complicated, but the more you say this out loud, the more you calculate this formula, the better you're going to get at it. Now, there is obviously a margin for error in terms of plus minus, and you guys can see it there right below the formula. It says range. The range is plus or minus half her age. Okay, again, the range is plus or minus half her age. So for example, if you run the formula with a 20-year-old and the answer is 70, the range is from 60 to 80, which means she slept with between 60 and 80 guys, but the average is 70, and I'll explain that factor momentarily. So let's go over each of the factors so I can explain the formula here to you guys. The first factor, let's go ahead and start with age. The age factor here is simple. The older a woman is, the more offers she's had, the more opportunities she's had. The more opportunities and offers she's had, the more men she's had sex with. Simple math. Listen, the longer a woman is on a carousel, the more cock she's taken. This is common sense. As far as physical attractiveness goes, the more physically attractive a woman is, the more selective she is. The more selective she is, the less number of men she's had sex with. Hot girls, guys, the 9s and the 10s of the world, they don't fuck as many guys because they don't have to. Okay? These girls can get more for their looks than 6s, more for their looks in the way of resources, better looking guys, higher quality guys than 6s or 7s. They know, 9s and 10s, the hot girls of the world, the beautiful women of the world, they know that they can hold out for higher quality men. And because there aren't as many high quality men as there are low quality men, their notch counts are comparatively lower. Also, 6s and 7s fuck far more guys anyway for 2 reasons. Number 1, they feel the need to validate their sexual attractiveness to themselves and others because they have an inferiority complex as less attractive females. And number 2, they get hit on a hell of a lot more than 9s and 10s, so they have more opportunities. 9s and 10s, they don't get hit on as often because most men are intimidated by their beauty, and the ones that aren't are few and far between. This is why we subtract the par number, which lowers the number by physical attractiveness. Then we divide half of the par, which further shrinks that number. So for the reasons I just talked about, the formula will spit out a number much smaller for hotter girls than it does for not so hot females, as it should. Now, in terms of what she says, the what she says factor. I've had plenty of conversations with girls mainly when I was in Vegas. I've had plenty of conversations with girls about notch counts, and what I have found is that if a girl really likes a guy, in other words, she can see herself with him, she can see herself maybe falling in love with him, long-term relationship, even marriage, etc., etc., she will never tell him that she's had sex with more than 25 men, no matter how old she is. Now, again, some girls have told me they never go over 30. Some have said they don't go over 20. Some said they don't go over 15. Some said 35. But most girls I've had conversations about this with say, by and large, that 25 is about the number they absolutely will not go over when telling a guy how many men they've had sex with if they like him. Now, if they know they're never gonna fuck a guy, okay? If they know they're never gonna fuck the guy, like the guy they friend zoned or the guy they're using for validation with no intention of getting romantic with, they're gonna be much more honest. And the reason is that they don't care what these guys think. They know they're never gonna fuck that guy. But when a girl actually likes a guy and can see a future with him, 25 is the max with most girls. So let's talk about the range factor. This is what I talked about earlier. It says here on your screen, not all women are created equal. There are 10s who fuck hordes of men. There are also 6s who are extremely selective. This, of course, depends on their parents, their upbringing. Was she raised by a single mom? Was she raised by a single dad? Was she raised in a strict family? Was she raised in a very sexually liberal family? There are all sorts of factors involved, which is why we have the range factor. It's not, like I said, it's an inexact science. The girl Amy I talked about in episode 4, she was a 9. She was hot. She could have any guy she wanted, but she fucked anything and everything with a dick. She was an epic whore. Then you factor in the 1s, 2s, and 3s of the world. This is women we're talking about, who aren't selective at all, but they're not getting many offers, if any. So that's where the range comes in, and we use half the age for that factor because, again, the older a woman is, the wider the range is the natural byproduct of just being around longer, just living longer. So let's go through a few examples here. And put this formula in action. So example number 1 here. You meet a 25-year-old 6 who tells you that she has slept with 15 guys. So you're going to take her age, which is 25. You're going to subtract it by her par, which is 6. You're going to divide it by 3, which is half her par. You're going to take that number and multiply it by the number of guys she's told you that she slept with. That's going to be 15 guys. That gives you about 95. Okay, you notice that's not an equal sign, that's an approximate sign. So a 25-year-old 6 who tells you she slept with 15 guys has probably slept with somewhere in the neighborhood of 95 guys. Now, the range is this, depending upon the other factors and variables. Her range, she has slept with anywhere between 82 to 108 guys, because again, we're taking half of her age and we're going plus minus with it. If she was raised in a strict family, maybe she's closer to 82. If she was raised by a single mom, she might be at or above 108. Example number 2, using the same formula. You've got a 21-year-old 8, so she's going to be much more attractive, and she's told you that she slept with 23 guys. So she's told you that she slept with 23 guys. This is more than the 25-year-old HB6. So you take her age, which is 21, you subtract 8, her attractiveness level, you divide it by half her par, which is 4, you multiply that by 23, and you get 74. Okay? Her range. So chances are this girl, if she had a strict upbringing, if she's a little bit more selective, if she knows her value, she's probably fucked closer to 65 guys. If she is like Amy, the one that I was talking about earlier, that I mentioned in episode 4, she's probably fucked at or near 85 guys. But on average, 21-year-old 8s who tell you they've slept with 23 guys have fucked somewhere in the neighborhood of 74 guys. Let's use an example. Let's use an older woman example. Again, remember, she's an older woman. She's a 33-year-old who is a 6.5 who's told you she slept with 19 guys. Now, again, keep in mind, she's 33 years old, so she's been around longer. Okay, so she's had more opportunities. She's a 6.5, so she gets hit on more than maybe an 8 or a 9 or a 10. And she's told you she slept with 19 guys. So guess what, guys? She's been around longer. She gets more offers, so her number is going to be substantially higher, as you can see on the screen. Let's apply the formula. We take her age. minus her par. We divide it by half her par, multiply that by 19, and I have that in quotes because we know damn well it's not 19. You get 155 guys. Okay, so a 33-year-old 6.5 who's told you that she slept with 19 guys has slept with somewhere between 138 to 172 guys. Maybe she gained weight and hit a slump and she wasn't fucking as many guys, so maybe she's down towards 138. Maybe she managed to keep her physical attractiveness and she was married and had a couple of kids and was cheating on her husband. That puts her closer to 172. But according to the formula, the average 33-year-old 6.5 who's told you she slept with about 20 guys, her number is going to average about 155 guys. Let's do one more example. Let's take a 10, all right? A 23-year-old 10, hot girl, who tells you she slept with 16 guys. Now remember, 10s will reduce their notch count numbers by more because they know they should be getting more for their looks, but that's why we have this range. So a 23-year-old 10 who tells you she slept with 16 guys, let's apply the formula. 23, her age, minus 10, her par. You divide that by half her par, which is 5. You multiply that by 16, and you've only got 41. This is a low number because she's young, she hasn't been around as long, and she's attractive. She doesn't get hit on as much. Now, maybe she's an epic slut like my ex-girlfriend Amy. Maybe she was raised in a strong Christian household. If she was raised in a strong Christian household, she's going to be on the upper end of that because we know how Christian girls get when they get any measure of freedom away from their parents. But if she's on the lower end, she probably will have slept somewhere in the neighborhood of 29 to 30 guys. If she's a little less selective, if she goes through a hoe phase, whatever the case may be, it'll be closer to 53 guys. So a 23-year-old 10 who's told you that she has slept with 16 guys has probably slept with somewhere north of 40 on average. Now, for the men out there who are saying, Donovan, you're full of shit. I know girls out here are slutty, but this is extreme, okay? Or if you're the guy who is shocked and simply cannot wrap your mind around the fact that girls are having this much sex with this many men, let me say this to the both of you. Male thirst is at an all-time high, guys. Female promiscuity, female sluttiness is always at an all-time high. You take those two factors, male thirst and female sluttiness and promiscuity. You take all of that and you throw in dating apps like Tinder, Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, etc., etc. These dating apps are, a woman has a smartphone in her hand. With these apps, these women can summon dozens of cocks to her exact location within minutes. Male thirst plus female sluttiness plus access equals exorbitant notch counts. You can say what you want, this is how they do it. Guys, there are girls out here racking up double-digit notch counts in a calendar week. I've heard of girls doing this. I've had conversations with girls who do this. You guys wonder, how can Donovan say this about... I've experienced this firsthand, and I hear about this stuff. Listen, guys, I've talked to strippers, I've talked to call girls, I've talked to cocktail waitresses who are basically strippers in training. Guys, these girls are truthful, man. They know the jig is up. They're like, listen, I'm a slut, I'm hot. You have to deal with me how it is. I'm not going to hide anything from you, so they tell the truth. Dude, there are girls out here fucking multiple guys in one day. 2, 3, sometimes even 4 guys in one day, man. And listen, if you guys don't believe me, go to Reddit. Go to forums. This shit happens, guys. And under the cloak of anonymity, girls talk about this stuff freely. Oh my god, I have a boyfriend and I fucked 2 guys at work. Or I'm having an affair on my husband. Well, who's the guy? Well, it's actually 5 guys. I'm fucking them all in rotation. Girls rack up notch counts just by living. If they're in heat, if they're ovulating, they want to fuck. If a girl is depressed, she wants to fuck. If a girl needs validation, if she just got dumped by her boyfriend or her fuck buddy isn't texting back, they want to fuck. If a girl is happy, she wants to fuck. Girls fuck for any and every reason. And again, because it's easier than ever to get dick. And the fact that they are praised for sluttiness, you throw in factors like birth control and abortion, which eliminates the need for discrimination, you get women who are in their 30s who have fucked over 250 guys easy. That's on the low end. Now, you ladies watching this, and I know that there are some ladies watching this, and pardon me, that's one of my dogs there. For you ladies watching this, okay, you guys will react with clever, pithy remarks about how I have no clue what I'm talking about, and you'll show your friends, and you guys will have a good laugh about it. You'll talk shit, and that's okay, all right? Because I know that when you guys watch this by yourselves, in the deepest recesses of your minds, you know I'm right. You're probably calculating this shit in your head right now and thinking to yourself, holy shit, he's right. Don't think for 1 second, ladies, that I believe that you believe everything you'll say out loud and or put in the comments, because we both know you're either in or close to that range. And you, who's watching this, the 25-year-old six who's watching this and thinking to herself, "Ha, I've only fucked 74 guys. You are so wrong." To that I say, you are absolutely right. The formula got it wrong. But that doesn't mean you're not a hoe, and you know it. Thanks for watching.